one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. There's something here that I need to read for the record regarding the situation in the nation and all over the world. In accordance with the governor's executive order related to COVID-19, and in-person attendance of tonight's planning commission meeting will be limited. We have arranged a live stream of the meeting so those interested can view it from home. The meeting is slated to start at 7 p.m. You can review the meeting via our website at https cedarlakeindiana.org, view town meeting. Then click on view broadcast. Under the live broadcast, you must join the meeting through the link to participate. Due to the unique nature of the meeting, the town of Cedar Lake will only accept public comments submitted electronically. If you have a question or comment about an item on the agenda, please email that question or comment to michelle.baker, that's 2 Ks, at cedarlakein.org. Cedar Lake IN is all one word. Ms. Baker will ensure that all submissions are shared with the elected officials of the town and that the submission will also be entered into the minutes of the meeting. Please keep your comments civil and constructive to the policy issues on the agenda. Okay. That said, roll call, please.
Heather Dessauer,
Present.
Chuck Becker,
Here.
John Kapora,
Present.
John Foreman,
Present.
Richard Sharp,
Here.
Jerry Wilkening,
Here.
Robert Carnahan,
Here.
Don Oliphant,
Here.
Dave Oshin,
Present.
Jim Kubiak,
Here.
Michelle Baker here, Sarah Rutschman,
Here.
Okay.
The statement you used at the beginning indicated that the elected officials of the town will receive comments. You are not elected, you are the appointed officials. So any comments that come in from the planning.
Dave, could you get up to the microphone?
Hey, I'll just repeat for you, Bob, if that's okay, Jerry. But we're still a commission,
But it's
Yeah.
still a commission.
appointed.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Austin. All right. New business and residential subdivision, final plat. Owner petitioner Richard Hem, P.O. Box 502, Cedar Lake, Indiana, 46303, vicinity 9903, West 133rd Avenue, Cedar Lake, Indiana. Legal descriptions listed, tax ID, tax key number. Petitioner is requesting final plat for a one-lot subdivision.
this is the special public meeting portion of the agenda.
Okay.
What was that?
This is a special meeting portion, Bob.
Okay.
Okay, then we'll, we're done with this, over to the work session. Okay, Don, do you have anything we need to know about this? Is everything good?
I do not. We issued a letter on March 26th for the final plat with 2 contingencies. One, obviously, a review of the building permit, basically the site plan before the building permit is issued, as well as any lighting. We reviewed the site plan already. It was in order, and then really haven't seen anything on lighting, but it's kind of where we're at.
Okay, but it's in there.
No, I haven't seen any lighting plans come in about how they're going to light I'm mainly concerned about the pole barn. That's it.
Okay. All right.
Everybody got a copy of Michelle's letter, and she printed everything in red on her comments.
Somebody's phone's vibrating at home.
That's correct, Bob.
Did everybody look at her comments?
Yes.
Yes, Bob.
Yep.
All right, thank you.
So the two little, I'm not going to call them caveats, but the 2 little details other than the waivers that Don suggested were the municipal water And that's on the permit?
I do have a
Okay,
copy of
that's
the
good.
permit application with that
All right,
included.
good.
Along
What
with
was the other,
document.
what was the other piece?
The timing of the
Oh,
construction.
the simultaneousness.
By the way, that's not mentioned or referenced in the minutes.
So it's BZA. That's worked out as a condition of the BZA for the building.
Did the BZA finish its work on this? If it's in the BZA
John, you want to repeat what David's saying again?
Jerry can.
We were discussing the few details left with this, Bob. The simultaneous construction of the home and the building and the detail of municipal water. The municipal water detail is in the permit, but Mr. Austin had alluded to not having any verbiage regarding the simultaneous construction. And that wouldn't be on the permit anyway, correct?
Correct. And we prepared the house permit to be picked up first. Once that's obtained, then he'll pick up the building permit. So it's taken care of.
Okay, well, that's not simultaneous, but,
We can pick them up both on the same day if you want.
I'm not asking that, I'm just saying, discussion piece here was about that. Simultaneous. Now,
So,
and you indicate that's in the BZA approval
Um,
minutes?
Can I read the motion?
Correct.
A motion was made by Nick Recupero and seconded by John Kapur to approve the developmental variance to allow the petitioner to build an 8,000 square foot accessory structure with a height of 27 feet, sidewall height of 18 feet, contingent approval of a one lot subdivision at the planning commission, and to include the finding of fact. Now, I believe that it was discussed and talked about. The permit is also applied for, and we are just waiting for Tim's approval.
Okay.
We have all the plans, we have everything we need for it.
so simultaneous construction means exactly that,
Right.
not,
Well,
not picking up permits.
all about the simultaneous and all that stuff. But
Any final plat approval tonight should be conditioned upon the BZA action and simultaneous filing the permit application by the building department.
and they're both turned in together.
So that ought to take care of it constructively.
Makes
Okay.
sense.
All right,
You want to repeat that?
John's gonna make a motion.
Yeah,
This can,
David Austin just said, whatever happens tonight, if there's a approval, it should be based on the BZA's actions and also the simultaneous pulling of the permits and building.
Okay.
we were just getting clarification on that.
All right.
Those building permits are also.
Okay, thanks.
Right, well, everything seems to be in order. Chuck, do you have any thoughts?
I just want to make sure, building and.
Okay, all right, I think we got that covered. Heather, any thoughts? Any
I do not.
questions?
Nope, I'm good.
Okay, Mr. Sharp,
All good, Jerry.
all good. Tim's good? John's good?
Sounds good.
Jerry's good?
I'm good.
The other John's good? Okay. All right. Well, I would.
And I'm good.
You forgot Bob. What about
Oh,
Bob?
Bob, sorry, Bob.
I'm
Bob?
good.
Bob, you're always good.
Thank you, Jerry.
Right, would anybody in this room or listening to this in this room like to make a motion?
I would be favorable.
Somebody's phone is ringing.
Yeah, we got it. Sorry.
I got it.
That was John.
No, it wasn't me. I'd like to make a
Make
motion. Bob, I'd like to make favorable recommendation to the Hen Residential Final Plat, contingent on the BZA action letter.
no,
This is an approval.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry, approval. The BZA actions as well as simultaneous permits and building being moved forward at the same time.
And all other requirements of the codes.
and all other requirements of the code.
Don's letter.
Okay, thank you.
I'll second it.
Okay, roll call, please.
Who seconded the motion?
John Capora.
All right, thank you.
Heather Dessauer,
Yes.
Chuck Becker,
Yes.
Bob Carnahan,
Yes.
John Capora,
Yes.
Richard Sharp,
Yes.
John Foreman,
Yes.
Jerry Wilkie.
Yes. It seems unanimous.
7-0.
7-0. Okay.
Bring
Guess,
your Mylars in when you get a chance. Bring your Mylars in when you get a chance. Get them signed.
you got to sign those?
3 of them.
He's got to use already looked at it, but he'll review it before we sign it, though, for sure. Make sure it's exact.
Okay.
That ends the public.
All right. That topic will end the special public meeting, and we'll move on to the work session. The work session, old business. We will start with commercial subdivision. Petitioners requesting preliminary plat for one lot subdivision. This is the old King Building on 133rd and Broadway. Don, you have any update items or anything?
I do not. We have not received anything new, at least in response to our last letter, which was March 26th. It's
Okay.
my understanding the use has changed since then, and I understand they went back to the drawing board, but we haven't received anything from Taranga or the Hen since.
Okay, I think the last thing.
And the one thing he indicated that there's no site plan was provided with the submittal.
Yes, we have not received a site plan. So one of our second comment in that letter kind of addresses a bunch of general items that we'd like to see. So there's a lot missing.
Okay, then I guess the last topic I think in this room was regarding the stormwater and Mr. McDermott's building and that kind of thing. So I guess we'll get the facts
This is
from
Richard
Mr. Hen.
13733 Wicker, Cedar Lake. The Turinga, Tacoba's got Turinga. He's way down in people. He couldn't get that complete.
Okay,
As far as any water going to McDermott, there is a large depressed area there that there is fall to the street to go over the sidewalk to get to the drain. That's not an issue, but Don shot it. He's in the process of expanding that parking lot to the west. Okay, so, but he didn't have anything done first, so probably next meeting.
okay. So are you thinking that you want this deferred to the next meeting?
Yes.
Or,
Well,
because that's only 2 weeks. You want it 30 days or what do you want to do?
do 30 days.
Okay. What's 30 days put us at, Michelle?
I do have another issue on that is in relation to the water department. I contacted them last fall.
Hold on, hold on,
Oh,
hold
I'm
on.
sorry.
You want to be deferred to the June 3rd Plan
Yeah,
Commission
that's
work
fine.
session.
We contacted them last fall, dug put the buffalo blocks at the corner of our property. Across the street, never found the water line. Ryan Kuiper wouldn't let us expose the water line. He's afraid it's an old one. Didn't want us to get close, so we stopped. We held the ditch open for approximately a month. Got cold. Ryan says, why don't you close it up? You don't need it this winter, that's fine. Then I called and Ryan was off and I called the next day. He said he'd send the guys out to see if they could find the main. I called him, what's this Wednesday? Called him Monday, no call back. Called him yesterday, no call back. Called him this morning, no call back. I don't know if we have water over there. I think we got a water to Millennium, but Ryan's afraid that it's a service line to him, 3/4. We don't want to steal his water. So they were digging, the night crew on the water crew was digging way south of there to see if they could locate a main. I don't know anything about it. Nobody's called me back. The issue comes up is and probably a question for Don, whether or not we get the go ahead on the parking lot or the site plan or whatever. The paving of that alley is kind of critical. I've got a paving contractor working for me at the Great Oak Center. He could go right over and pave that alley, but I can't do that without water. So there we are. So, and that, the question, I guess, is for Don. What our intentions, Don, were to do a 2-inch surface asphalt graded to the existing drain and pave it. I believe that's what you were asking for, wasn't it?
Well, I think we were gonna do the full pavement section minus the ag. So that'd be 1.5 and 3. And go back to the water thing too. Taranga shows a B box at the southeast corner of the lot. I don't know if that's correct or not, but they're showing one down there.
Well, nobody's contacted me. I
The B
also,
box is there, but there's nothing to hook it up to.
I'm sorry, I can't.
The B box is there, but it's not hooked up.
No, we didn't hook it up. We got it up with the,
Okay.
It's
with
there.
the water, yeah.
Yeah, it's there, but there's no water coming to
And
it.
so I think the question comes down to is that you want a base coat and a surface coat on that alley?
That is what we have in the estimate right now, is the intermediate and the surface. And then we were gonna basically strip it down to the stone, run a proof roll on it. If the proof roll passed, we weren't gonna do the ag.
I think the discussion here regarding the ag was that it probably was, there was plenty of it and it was compacted.
Yep.
Well
that's-
enough.
That's exactly right.
Yeah, and we'll find that out pretty quick once we strip off what's there. And if it's solid, there's no point in moving it, especially for an alley.
That's what I thought.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, the question comes down to, I think before the next meeting, if we can get water, we can pave that thing in about 10 days.
Nice.
If we come up with a plan that's workable.
I mean, I guess the issue is that the letter of credit issue, it's a public improvement, so we would likely need a letter of credit on file before we can allow that, unless there would be some deviation from that.
I don't know. I don't think, I think the only people who'll use it be us. I don't think anybody else will use it.
Not
What
many
is-
people.
What are your thoughts on this water thing?
We have no idea.
I also,
They tried vac trucking. They tried taking the vac truck out twice to pothole for the water. There's 18 inches of stone to dig through. So it took them 4 hours to make it 18 inches because of how hard that was. So we called in locates to get stuff located there, and they were gonna take the backhoe out there and get dug through the stone and see if they could find it. But we got the same problem. It's crew each shift and
I'm not,
Is this, this is gonna be a really dumb question, Tim. So there's water pipes in the building, yes or no?
no,
Oh, wow. Somebody tore them all out?
no, they had a well, the well's active.
Oh, I never did that. Okay. You answered
never
my
had
question.
Water there.
I never knew that. So Mr. King never signed up, Dr. King never signed up with Mr.
No, he
Mauger.
was on a well from day one.
Gotcha. Okay. And Mr. McDermott's on a well?
I really don't know.
Well, do we know, is it the assumption that there's a water line in the alley?
There is one, but I believe it's a service line strictly to Millennium. That's the question. And
We don't know
Ryan
if it's
doesn't
up
want to
in
hook to
the-
that.
We have a feeling the main is up by the restaurant, by the assessors.
To-
up
to
there,
the
and then
south,
service
to the
lines just
south.
Come
Yeah.
up the alley, but
And Ryan wants to hook to the main, which I understand.
Well, I mean, with staff, your staff doing all this digging and stuff, those guys do that, they call it that ultrasonic stuff. I mean, that puts a pretty good picture of what's,
yeah, but this is
So deep?
all just poly plastic.
50-year-old
There's
poly
nothing
pipe.
there to locate. It's terrible. Like they can't, it's just black poly water pipe. So that stuff doesn't work with that. If it would have been old steel pipe or something like that, that could be located. We have a couple ideas to maybe find the service line that was found going to the Millennium, shut their water off, and then put a fish tape up that plastic line and trace that. So we got some ideas we'll find it, we'll get it. And
Okay.
Monday, we're gonna have the crew back to full force again, so.
well, I think the question is, hurry up and get the water so you can get the
Well, we
blacktop.
get, yeah, well, here's the
I mean,
deal.
that's right.
I think I'm looking for a commitment. Are we gonna be able to hook on to municipal water?
Yeah.
Okay. So I need 2 yokes, so,
Yeah, we'll get it.
okay. That's it. And the other thing would be paving, so I really don't know if 2 inches of surface asphalt would be sufficient on there. I believe there is some kind of a roadbed down underneath all that stone, but I really don't know.
So the 18 inches you talk about is the alley? It's that deep? Ay, ay, ay. So maybe the 2.5 and 3 is overkill then. I don't know. What was
Seems
our
like it.
old standard that we had in the Mystery Woods South? Inch and then,
Old
Two-
was 1 and 2.
oh, his old was 1 and 2?
Now it's 2 and 2. It's 2 and 2, right, Don?
No, it's 1.5 and 3.
Yeah.
1.5 and 3. Okay, all right. All right.
The other question I had is, will water, Tim, be brought to our property line? Is that correct? You'll bring the water to our property line?
I don't know.
Because they were digging way south of my property line.
Well, we were just trying to get a feel for find something, so I didn't want to start. I figured if we could find something, we could see if what's heading in that direction. So
Well, I'm going to interject something here. If you look at the plat, if you have that, I don't even know if you got your package,
Yep,
but
yeah.
the driveway is far north of our Buffalo box is about 30 to 40 foot south of our driveway. And the way I understood the last meeting I was at was that you wanted us to pave all the way to the end of our property. If we pave to the end of the property, we're going to be digging in the asphalt again, or I can get over in the margin of it and be on McDermott's property. So the issue is I can pave to our driveway without a problem. I can put whatever you want there, but I'd like to get that accomplished. Well, I got a hold of the fella, you know. Once I lose him, who knows when I get him back, you know.
So you're basically saying if Tim doesn't find out where the water is, you would like to go to the end of your driveway
I'd like, well, just get
instead
it to
of the end of the
Just-
property.
Just get the property. We're already 30, 40 south of the driveway we require. I'd like to pave up to our driveway.
So that way, if they find the water south of you, they can go down the alley.
Exactly. But
and then
we got-
still
we
get it
alre-
through
we
your
already
lot.
have the Buffalo box 40 foot south of the driveway.
Gotcha.
The new drive would go from 133rd to the end of our driveway. That's
try
what
to
I'd
go
like
to
to do.
the end of the property. Though. That's the
I don't know. That's what I'm asking.
Is well, the balance of time and money, isn't there a water line on 133rd?
No.
There was no, back then, nobody did it.
I can't talk.
there's no water till
I'm on a meeting.
Second phase.
it comes from that across over there. There's water at the corner. Yeah, it's crazy. You would think there's water there. But there's
I guess we see what
So-
happens. Huh?
As soon as Tim finds water.
We'll find it. We just discussed a plan the other morning, so we have at least
All
a.
right,
That's
so
a
I
good
guess
idea.
The issue is you find the water and go from there. I guess probably the only thing.
Hopefully the owner
So-
of Millennium lets you guys put a rod up there.
I don't want to.
You might know those guys.
Okay, so just to reiterate, for the person doing the minutes, Tim's still looking for water on the west side of the lake. And Mr. Hen wants to do his blacktopping as soon as possible. 3 inches on the bottom, 1.5 inches on the top.
Vice
Is
versa.
that correct, Don?
Inch and a half.
That's correct.
Okay,
And this item is deferred until June 3rd.
June 3rd.
Going to be a bond.
And this item will be deferred till June 3rd.
Yep. Thank you.
Okay, that's it.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, you'll know that next before you approve this stuff at the meeting. But yeah.
Okay, the other piece of old business, Cedar Lake Ministries subdivision, PUD amendment, rezone, everything. They had asked to be deferred until, okay. Can we can't defer this for 30 days from now, can we, Mr. Austin?
You can do anything you want with this. They're not in process.
Hold on. He says you can do anything you want. You say no.
This is the work session.
Right.
I get that. They can do anything they want regarding an agenda item for their meeting. That's really what you're talking about. So, if you want to bump this, bump it. If you don't, talk about it.
Well, we really have no correspondence, correct?
That's correct.
No correspondence other than Mr. Matua's request to be deferred.
And that's for the Plan Commission and the BZA, according to Michelle's notes.
Yes, it's kind of a mixed arrangement.
So it's probably assumed that it has to go to the next work session, so we can talk about
I would say so.
Yeah.
it. So
Mr. President, before this matter continues on your agenda, my recommendation to you and your staff is that we get clarity about what the request is. You'll remember, we had a lot of discussion here, both during a meeting work session and then after the meeting, about sitting where Brad is right now, about what the heck it is that they're asking for. They didn't know. They were doing their research and we haven't heard from them. So until you continue this matter on your agenda, it's advisable to pull it and require them to clarify what they're asking for. In fact, it needs a lot more clarity.
So this would,
Under
this evening, we could decide to make this an update item.
You could direct your staff to put it on your agenda that way, yes.
or direct staff not to let it go on to the public meeting because we don't know what we're doing.
You're not taking any action substantively, you're taking action about what your agenda is containing based upon the readiness of the developer for petition.
So if we move this to an update item, would Mr. Matua need to continue with his deferral request?
Just because somebody requests a deferral does not mean you have to grant it. It's at your discretion to run your agenda and your docket the way you deem appropriate. So when folks ask for renewal or for deferrals for month after month after month,
Was this for the
you
zip
don't
line?
have to do it.
Yes, your zip line.
You do it for the community, you do it for a lot of reasons, but you don't have to.
Being logical, we can assume that it's probably gotten delayed because of the situation we're in with COVID.
Maybe.
I'm thinking there's not gonna be a lot of zip lining happening this summer.
A
That
year
would be
ago-
logical.
A year ago in 2019, you had that same petitioner before you, and they came to a meeting or two and didn't come back.
Right.
And that didn't happen.
Well, hang on, Bob. We also had the original proposal. We want to do the zip line now, and we will have the PUD done in 2021. Is that what everybody else heard?
Yes.
Yes.
We have no progress on the PUD. And like John said, the zip line, because of the situation all around the world, the assumption would be that we would not. So,
But we could still put it on the next agenda and then either defer it or make it an updated item.
Yeah, but Bob, the next meeting is a public meeting and that is not a work session. That's a business
Right.
meeting to take care of business. So it's only logical that it won't make the next agenda since we don't know anything.
Yeah, but we could at that point in time, if they show up, either make a motion to defer it to the June meeting or to put it on updated item.
But it's the onus is on them, not us. We as a commission can all say tonight, Jerry could ask if we're all comfortable, move this out to the next work session and have Michelle inform them of that if he so chooses.
And we can't make a decision tonight.
Yeah, we can.
No, we can't. This is a work
No,
session.
we don't have to vote. We don't have to vote.
It's not a public meeting.
Hold on.
for action decisions, so you can direct your staff how to handle this agenda. In fact, it happens every day. We talk about the agenda all the time offline. That's what you're doing right now.
Yep.
okay,
If-
then, hold on. Does everybody zooming in understand what we're at here?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
all right.
I didn't hear what Dave just said.
What he had
Come to the meeting.
advised us Bob, is that we can discuss how to arrange and handle the agenda and the items on it. And that's kind of where we're at with this. And as Mr. Foreman stated, the next gathering for Planning Commission is a meeting. So moving it 30 days, and like you said, advising them that we're moving this to update items, I don't think is a bad idea. If anybody's gonna have any thoughts. Otherwise, please speak now. Okay,
Mr. Jerry, we have somebody waving.
So,
raising their hand too.
and everybody who's not here in the flesh, Jack Hulls is in the room, and he,
call with Sanusi and Mr. Terpstra.
I reached out to him again today and asked, you know, what his plan was for the 14th and the 20th.
what did he say?
I have not gotten a response.
Oh, okay, you left a message.
I
Okay.
sent him an email.
Okay, all right.
I think your assumptions are very much correct that the zip line will not be something that will be needed for this year. But they would like to proceed with the PUD. The timeline that they're currently working with, John is working with the cottagers. We would anticipate having something to present back to you midsummer. And so the suggestion of moving this to an update item at a later date, or, you know, would be perfectly reasonable.
Well, then I guess with that said, we'll defer this for 30 days. Once you get information from the ministries regarding anything else, then we can move it to an update item and
Is that acceptable?
Yeah, it's good to hear something.
So you would like me to move this to the June 3rd work session
yes,
or?
yes. And then from there, and then from there, and then from
I'll
there,
be here, so that'll be fine.
and
President, it sounds to me, and maybe you all heard the same thing, they're gonna withdraw the BZA petition, they're gonna come in here fresh sometime this summer. So when you come to the next public meeting where you can vote, which is 2 weeks from tonight, you can remove this from the agenda.
okay. All right.
You guys can do it in a public meeting action. This was only an agenda management.
Yeah, for
discussion.
sure.
Yeah.
Well, I guess what we would like to do is if we can, for the matters of the public hearing, and this would be a question more than anything else. We've already advertised, and that's a pretty expensive thing to do for the PUD. So if we stay on the agenda, then that doesn't need to happen again. We can let people know when the public meeting is, but that would be that's the reason for the defer, is to withdrawing the petition and then redoing the petition. So you can advise and we'll do whatever. we need to do.
So you mentioned starting fresh, and
That's what
He
he
will-
said.
okay,
No, I said.
sometime this
the
summer,
parameters of the PUD,
right?
as we discussed previously, are still in play. We're still working those details out. And it had always been that the zip line was going to be a part of the PUD document, so that the special exception would only be for this summer, right? Because
Okay.
because the PUD wasn't going to be done in time.
Right.
Now, since the pressure is off, because we don't need the zip line, we take that off the table. And then we're just dealing with the PUD, and anything that we want to do on the property,
Will be
we will
encompassed
be
within.
in the PUD, so we won't need a special exception for any item in the future. And all the things that we talked about as being a part of the PUD process previously is what we're still going to do.
So Michelle should receive a letter or information from somebody officially saying,
For
please
sure.
keep
And
us,
I'm
please
sorry
defer it
that-
for
that
X number of
I-
days.
I was
Right,
under the
I-
And I
impression
keep
that
us on
that
the
had been
agenda.
communicated.
I would
Or not.
really appreciate, having that notice and not having to reach out to ask and then having some kind of a
That's-
time frame, a date,
I,
is it?
I would really appreciate having some representation here from the ministry instead of hearsay, because that's what we're getting right now is hearsay.
I understand.
But we need a body up there from the ministry if they want to go forward with this. If they don't show up at the next meeting, I'm gonna make a motion to strike it from the agenda. Get rid of
I
it,
understand.
because this is just one bag of worms, and they never, ever know what they want to do when they come here.
Understood. And
Thank
that
you.
is the same advice that is advice that they're getting. So that
Okay.
we need to get this.
Well,
I don't know why you didn't receive communication. It was discussed.
I would,
Okay.
I would,
Yeah, I just want to make sure,
I would request, you've already asked the question. I don't,
I will make sure she has communication.
I personally don't think this is yours to chase anymore.
I agree.
So
Yep.
if he can pass that along, I'm sure you have other things to do.
I'm sure there was some,
And Chase.
I don't know why they didn't respond to you today, but as far as the letter, I'm sure there was some miscommunication.
and he may have after,
So,
4:30.
so,
Makes sense. We're done.
so.
Yep.
What?
I agree. I
Okay.
agree with you.
So the PUD, you already have, we've seen, it's been surveyed. The whole, all the woods, all that's been surveyed. The existing buildings are there and everything else. Can we grant a PUD in the future when there's stormwater issues on that same piece of property? There's no parking, there's no parking in that field. There's no, and to put a hard surface in means you gotta have stormwater plan, which makes everything change.
I understand that. So a PUD is a zoning agreement. And so the purposes of us coming in front of this board for a PUD would be to work out with this board and also with the town council, what uses would be allowed on that property. And we would, as part of that agreement, say that any use that we would have would require a site plan approval by this same body at the time that was proposed. And then this body would have the ability to go through a site plan approval process, which then would give you ability to address any utility concerns, stormwater concerns, all of those reasonable matters. But at this point, with the PUD, we're just trying to figure out what uses we can do. And then once we have that, then it's much the same as the next petition. The PUD says we can do this and this in this building.
Well, that, and the difference between what's next and what you're talking about is the property is being used for all kinds of things. And, there's, we got to pull it together.
That's the reason why the ministry also agrees with you that we're in a spot where there's too much confusion, and we need to
Eliminate all the confusion.
Exactly. So we're putting a master plan together, a roadmap. And instead of saying, well, we'd like to do this, or we'd like to do this, we're saying, guys, you need to dream big, decide what you might want to do, and then we'll go talk to the town and see what they think about it. We'll come into a zoning agreement and say, our PUD allows us to do a zip line. It allows us to do this. It allows us to do that. Whatever those things are, it specifically says we can't do this, and we can't do this, and we can't do this. Okay?
Okay.
All stuff that's agreed on by both parties. Once we get to that spot, then we'll have a PUD document that's approved. And you can see that's gonna be a lengthy process. I can't
Yes.
get that done in a month.
I understand.
Yeah.
You are good. You're
Thank
not
you,
that
Jack.
good. You're not that good.
That good.
We're glad you're in the audience.
Okay. All right, let's move on. New business, Summer Winds Commercial LLC, Summer Winds Commercial LLC, 11125 Delaware Parkway, Crown Point, Indiana, 9730 Lincoln Plaza, Cedar Lake, Lincoln Plaza West, Lot 4. Petitioner is requesting a final plat. This is the property straight west of the True Value Strax parking lot. Don, do you have any thoughts right offhand? Any comments?
Currently, what's kind of going on with the property is some moving around and clarification of utilities. I think that's pretty much figured out now. We did receive a updated final plat early, I think later at the end of last week, that kind of, we needed to change around some easements to reflect some of the utility changes. So Jack, I don't know if are you guys doing another full engineering submittal to kind of encompass everything, or do I have everything?
I believe that you were sent the revised stormwater plan, so that would be sheet C-104 late last week. I think Michelle was copied on that. I think Tim was copied on that. Neil and Ryan were all copied on. Largely, the changes were related to the water main. Actually, all of the changes were related to the water main on that revision. I can issue another set, a complete set if you'd like, or I can just revise that sheet, whatever you'd like to do.
Go ahead and do a full set. Has Neil gotten back to you? Is he okay with all the water main changes?
Tim, Neil have his water situation
Yeah,
straightened
the
out for this
water-
property?
The water's all good now. We requested some water main be changed and upgraded, relocated. We did some pretty major goals to getting all the water replaced in that area, and these guys have accommodated all of that, and we've put some easements and right of ways in to take care of all that. So, and also created a loop around the property to supply the building, so there's good water and no rust and never have a problem. So,
And
they were-
isolation abilities.
yeah, they were very, Jack worked awesome with Ryan and Neil, and we all got a plan, and
Good.
it's 100%. Neil's good with it, Ryan's good with it, I'm good with it. So it was good to get it done now before, obviously, we know all that stuff is old, and
Smart.
all that'll be completely
Is
taken care of. So it's good.
Right.
I would like to have a full set of plans with today's date so
Yeah,
that
I
we
can
can
do that.
make sure.
Not a problem.
Also, Brad gave me and David both the updated PUD docs that had all the corrected and updated information, so we'll have that reviewed for the 20th.
okay. Anybody zooming have any questions about this?
Yes. Don, in your thing, it indicates here that the developer is subject to a $1,000 MS4 inspection. And they got to do that because it's less than 5 acres, because it's only 4 acres, correct?
That is correct.
And then this O&M, is that operation and maintenance manual?
That is correct also.
And that will be signed at a later date according to your paper here.
Yeah, that's just more of an administrative type deal.
Okay.
They need to sign it just to make sure that they understand the requirements need to be met.
You already do.
And then it's my understanding that this is no longer Summer Winds Commercial. It is now Summer Winds Plaza, and Lambert Concrete now owns this.
No. So to go back, that MS4 fee has been paid. Those documents
Okay.
have been signed, and Jack will get us the
Yeah, if
signed.
there's anything missing, I believe Don can clarify this, but I believe all of the matters on his letter have been addressed. The only outstanding item that we're still working on is the actual letter of credit value. I've got contracts from Brad regarding that, and we'll have a letter of credit amount settled on. I'm going to have Don that information probably tomorrow. But the O&M manuals is signed and submitted. The MS4 fee was paid because they're, and then
The name is still Summer Winds Commercial.
the owner is still Summer Winds Commercial or whatever it is. Brad Lambert is a partner in that, and he's in the room. Brad Lambert does own Lambert Concrete, but they are different entities. So Lambert Concrete is not an owner in this parcel.
All right. I
Okay.
was so different on the street.
Okay, so everything in our packet is accurate.
All right, thank you.
Merwin's LLC.
Bob, I haven't seen you on the street in 8 weeks, man. What street were you on?
After dark.
I occasionally go out and go to the post office
Oh, okay.
with the mask
Yeah, good
and
man.
gloves.
I like my
and
mask.
gloves.
All right, new
Yep.
business. I think we're done here. Everybody good with Summer Winds commercial on the Zoom?
Yes. I'm good, Mr. President.
Okay. Chuck, Heather, you good?
I'm good.
Okay,
I'm good.
all right. Mr. Ocean has some further information on the PUD document.
I agree with Michelle. We did updated documents. I would ask the developer and consultant to give us copies that show the margin note, red line underscore changes. This is my file on this project.
Okay.
For all the things that have gone on over the years. So
Okay,
I don't want to have to go back.
And try to remember.
okay.
That'll be helpful.
So Mr. Hulls, Mr. Lambert, you understand?
For sure. And I think
Request,
that
okay.
document was
All right.
ready to go, so we can
All right.
accommodate
Very
that.
good.
We do not have comments yet as a consequence.
I have not either.
Okay,
And I don't know that Don's gotten to it either, so.
okay, so does, thank you, Mr. Ocean.
Jerry, would you mind repeating what Mr. Austin just said?
Mr. Ocean has received, along with Michelle, some revised PUD documents that he has not looked over yet, but he will, if needed, have comments on it in 2 weeks on the matter. Don may also.
I mean, the biggest remaining items are the PUD development agreement, file that, and then the final plat, which is in order as long as it matches kind of what was agreed upon for sanitary and water, and then obviously letter of credit stuff.
The other thing Mr. Ocean stated was he was requesting a PUD document with the old and the new, the updated items being separately noted.
There are two items. There's the PUD contract and there's the development.
Okay, there's two actual contracts, Heather.
Got it.
So Mr. Ocean has to look that stuff over. Michelle will probably review it. Don will certainly look it over. So that's where we're at with Summer Winds commercial at this point.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, anybody in the room have any questions,
No, sir.
concerns? No?
One other thing, the development agreement with Summer Winds Plaza PUD, who put that together?
The developer did, Bob.
All right. A lot of interesting comments in there.
Okay.
It hasn't been reviewed yet, Bob.
Yep. Dave's gonna look it over.
All right, thank you.
All right, thanks, Bob. Okay, anything else, Mr. Hulls?
Nope. Michelle, I believe, does have all of the information, including the state design release on this project. So we're looking forward to
Yes,
final
all of
plat,
the documents
final
he
plat
brought. Yep.
approval. Because that would be the one step that we're missing is the final plat.
Mhm.
We have a recorded lot to pull that building permit. So all those documents are in to the town demonstrating the intent that we would like to start this project.
Okay.
Sounds good.
very
So
good.
this will be on the agenda in May, the
May
third
20th.
Wednesday in May.
Yep,
Yeah,
May
20th.
May 20th, Bob.
All right, thank you.
Is the surety amount worked up? This is for final plat too.
Yeah, that's one of the little detail items. I've got the contracts.
It's not a little detail item.
Me and Don will.
They're working on that.
agreed that he agrees to a number ready in 2 weeks. Yep, that's all. in.
Cannot have final plat approval without the surety.
Yeah.
That's-
Yeah. And Brad is aware, and his bank is waiting for the minutes of this meeting, which will then verify that amount so that they can post that amount. So all that stuff's
All right.
for you.
Glad
Excellent.
to see you're still moving forward.
All right. Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Jack.
Thank you. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
All right, guys, have a great week.
Be safe. Have a good week.
Okay.
No. No. No, you, that was perfect timing.
Okay, item number 2, new
Yeah, take care,
business. Pepese one lot subdivision. This is at 8029 Lakeshore Drive, Richard and Karen Pepese. I know they've requested deferrals, and we've been following this for a while.
You mean last year? They requested to be removed?
I thought they
All right,
wanted to
well-
move to March because he had cancer
Yeah, this
and he was going to some other country, Austria, to get treated.
That was
Right, well,
last
he,
year.
he did.
And he thought
Yeah,
this
okay.
March would be a good time to start up again.
Right. It
Okay, so
was-
this has been floating on the agenda.
It was removed. This,
Okay,
they
all
have
right.
now reapplied. This is
Oh,
the
okay.
first time that they're on the agenda. This is
Okay.
it's new business.
All right,
They
so,
also have a they have a survey who came in and examined this.
and that was the hurdle in the beginning.
Myself and David had a conference call with Stuart from
Okay.
Turinga to discuss this matter.
Okay,
We did get a few legal 1911 easement documents that were sent to David and myself, but besides that, I have not spoke to them. I was thinking maybe I should go in the parking lot and see if maybe they're here.
yeah, why don't you go take a look real quick and just make sure.
same engineer that Mr. Henn had.
And yeah, he said they messed up. They weren't wearing their mask, I think.
This is a very unique piece of property.
Yes,
30
it
plus
is.
acres of Cedar Lake Ministries is a very sensitive piece of property.
No, there is not anyone out there.
No one in the parking lot. Okay.
Is the front door locked?
Yes.
I think, nothing. Okay.
Not since 4:30.
So it'll be on next month's work session. Maybe.
May
They
20th.
may post it.
Yes, let's do May 20th with
It's a
this
public hearing.
and send them one email. Or, well, if you don't get any more information, send them something and,
This is a very interesting piece of property that really begs for some regulation. We had a very good meeting with Stuart Allen, the surveyor, and there are a lot of things that have happened in this piece of property or to this piece of property as a consequence of Cedar Lake changing over a long period of time. Access to this property, amazingly enough, seems to be a 10-foot easement access or driveway access that goes back to instruments that are from the 1910s. Property has been the subject of several sale trends. We all know who's lived there.
Yeah, yeah.
And the trail back for the past about 30 years or so. Most of us know those people. They're longtime residents of this community. There were no issues with access to the property for them as they purchased the property and moved along. But now with a reconfiguration, a rehabilitation of the house that's there, they're doing the right thing by trying to make certain this is a lot of record. They have proper legal access. Remember, we built a roundabout that kind of is close.
It's also zoned RM, which is multifamily. They did turn in their application yesterday to rezone it back to R2, to a single family lot.
That's good.
So that will be on the next, obviously.
So this is
Docket.
really a piece of property that we can get right.
Yeah. I didn't know that was zoned around.
And
We could have built condos.
Mhm.
it just is one of those pieces of property that's crammed into an area that didn't really give it relief and room to be right.
well, I'm looking forward to you guys getting all the good and right information.
Well, you need the right information.
Right.
You can make the right.
Yes, but it starts with you two.
Surveyor was very cooperative and I'm expecting that to be the case.
All right. So I guess we will leave this as new business still?
Yep.
Okay. All righty. I guess that would conclude the items. They have nothing for public comment
We have
unless
no
somebody,
attendees.
unless,
Mr. President,
yes, sir.
may we have a discussion about procedures?
Okay,
I won't go too far
Okay.
off on you.
all right.
Your staff and I have talked, not specifically directly eyeball to eyeball, boring down on each other, but in casual working through problems, applications, petitions, processes. We've been working kind of how things are evolving from how folks are treated who come in here, how they're required to provide the right information, how they're guided by our staff. John said it earlier tonight, it's one of the reasons I'm bringing this up, that kind of the project that was once, now 6 months later is something else, and you will vote no if you see that come back again and continuing to not be ready. That's an objective that is being had right now about making certain that folks don't make your agenda until they are ready. They're not counting the application up to the facts or the application up to the plans. That's what we faced tonight. You had, and I wish they'd have stayed. I don't really care if they hear this. They should hear this. You had the ministries. That project over 16 months has changed 2, 3, 4 times. And we don't really know what it is, and they don't really know what it is. They're studying it right now. He admitted, Jack admitted, they're really kind of visiting what they want to do with their land. They're in a land use way. Well, you need that to be the case. When they walk in here, bring their checkbook, sign the application, and put the information on the table in front of your staff so that the processing can begin, so they can have their public hearings, right? The reason for making that right is for fairness, due process. Now, I'm going to go to the ministries here for a second and talk about this in the context of fairness and due process. They came in here in January, they being the representatives and their consultants, and they made a proposal to you. They proposed to use their land because they thought they had an end use that was right, but they didn't have the game plan. Then they advertised for a public hearing. Still don't have their game plan. Miss a month, get a deferral. Now they're here in May, and they're starting. Well, he did say it. He didn't say it in so many letters, but they're at the drawing board, figuring it out. That's starting anew.
Poor planning on one part doesn't make an emergency on ours.
And it's okay. We don't want to discourage them from doing the right thing,
Yeah.
but they don't want a piece of the process to be followed. They don't want to give notice. They want to stay on your agenda, so they are not responsible to tell the world around them under our rules and procedure that there's an action. I don't know about you, but I look at classifieds every day. It's part of what I have to do in my profession. And people do look at those, and they do know when there's public hearings here. The adjacent property owners listing is the same thing. People who are affected directly by the adjacency really have a right to know what's going to happen on this property. And if it's changed, as is suggested, they don't know unless there's an advertisement, a notice, practically. So all I'm suggesting to you is that the staff's activities, I've called her gatekeeper. Almost every time we talk, you're the gatekeeper. She is the gatekeeper to making certain the application comes in, it's complete, it has the data appended to it that it's supposed to have, it has the check for the right amount of dollars on it, and that there's a exchange of saying, here's the time periods, we'll look forward to seeing you. That's what we're working on, so that we can be efficient for you in getting you what you need as that process then begins. It goes out of our hands, it goes into your hands, complete.
Mr. Austin, I don't, without getting into the ministries and all the different variables, I don't know that anybody in this room or on that computer screen would not back Michelle up 110% if she says if it's not ready, it's not ready. Heather has a phrase.
We've had that.
Heather has a phrase, and getting it finished at that podium it's very time consuming.
And I think part of the problem that we have as the staff is, you're saying have it ready, and we feel that this board wants to be involved in making it ready per se, instead of, bringing something in and then you guys, whoa, this isn't what we want. We want this. So it's kind of hard to.
I think the pieces that,
separate that.
yeah, well,
I mean,
you have a,
because you can only go so far.
You-
and
yeah.
then you're making somebody spend 10 times as much money to redo everything. 75 times.
I don't think that's,
So,
I don't think
that's
that's, yeah, I don't think that's exactly where this is at. I think part of it is that we do approvals on these, and then we have all these contingencies. Now, I'm not sure it's any more work for staff. It does make it last a lot longer, though. Don has to chase things longer periods of time.
How
You know-
about, I have an idea. How about if we have a stopwatch? And how about if they don't officially go on the agenda, but instead they have 5 minutes to give the commission a concept of what they're thinking, and that's all we can do is a thumbs up or a thumbs down. They haven't paid for anything, they haven't done anything. If Michelle vets it and it's to that point where she's
Well,
not sure, she comes in, they come to public comment. They say, hi, my name is Jerry Smith, Jerry Wilkening. I have this idea of doing this with this land. This is what I've got. And the clock is running literally. And we say, okay, let's think about sleep on it. And next month we'll come to the work session.
I don't think that's a bad idea for
Something like that.
conceptual things.
Yeah.
But these things that are marching in the correct order, and Don gets things 3 days before the meeting.
Here's how it works in communities that are blowing up like ours.
Right.
And that's where we have to consider ourselves now. Our community's blowing up.
It's changed.
Folks come to work study sessions like this without filing an application. They bring their concept in, they have an idea what they want to do, and they come and visit you. They get permission from you to advertise. If they're not ready, if they are sadly short, if they need technical work, if they have to have an engineer surveyor, a soils consultant, a land planner, whatever, they're not ready, they don't get on your agenda for public hearings. That's where the rubber meets the road, right? Public hearings where the decisions are made. But they come here so often, short a month. So if you set the procedures to require attendance at a work study, or at the next public meeting, they come back and you can vote on publication of, and then filing the application and notices and having the public hearing, you make people do the homework in advance so they don't waste your time and our resources and staff energies when they're not ready. So you've
Correct.
got a process, and you can put them in that channel, and if they don't come ready, they don't get approval to advertise for a public hearing.
I think everybody has a different idea of what conceptual is, and people who have a great idea don't want to invest anything until they come to the work session. But that's where the gatekeeper comes in,
That's where the gatekeeper comes.
depending on the circumstance.
Until their ducks are in a row, they shouldn't be on the agenda for a
Well,
work session.
Well,
Game
to a-
over.
but to a point, but like Tim said, you don't want somebody out spending hundreds and thousands of dollars when they're not sure what's going to happen at you know what's kind of expected, and you can make those recommendations to them. And if you tell them they need these 4 things and they don't have them, they don't get on here. Nobody's gonna,
Well,
everybody's gonna back you up 100%, Michelle.
Jerry, another phenomenon that occurs is that folks who aren't ready invade our staff candle power to help get them ready.
Yeah,
they kind of take our staff and make them their consultants. And that's,
Yeah.
am I missing
That-
something?
Nope.
Where did that happen
Yeah, and then
last?
you're spending your time doing that now. Yeah, that's true.
So if the procedure's set, so they know they have to come here, they're not getting engineering technical, they're not getting Tim Kubiak's brains, they're not getting the experience of our staff, except to kind of guide them down the path of, here's what has to happen, here's what the zoning code says, here's what our requirements are in the subdivision ordinance. Those are public record things.
Right, and those are things they can be given at the counter.
They should be.
So, right, so get this together and
We
Bring
got
it-
the
bring it to me.
checklist We started working on.
Yeah.
5 years ago.
yeah, but I mean, if there's just 6 things, whatever you think
We
is
have-
good to
we
get them.
start- That's what we need is the checklist for you guys to approve what you want.
Let's
And
do
if They
it.
don't have that.
That's what
then
we need.
If they don't have the stuff checked off on the list, they don't get it.
I don't think you can take and say, here's a checklist, you know, if you don't have this, don't, because each situation is different. The checklist that is in place now are your ordinances, your zoning ordinances, your,
We got a pretty good checklist. We'll have to show it to you.
I
It's
think,
different for different.
Just to educate, is it more of
I
an
got a
education
copy
list?
of, I got a copy of the checklist a couple of years ago. It was about 20 pages long.
But it was for different scenarios.
well, but here's the thing, John, if there's 10 things on here and they know those are gonna be items they have to address. If they can't address them with staff, they don't get on the agenda.
You're not asking folks with a PE engineering firm at 150 an hour and crank 40 hours to come to a work study to explain their concept. We all know our community. You're here because you are knowledgeable of our community. They'll identify the parcel and what their intent is. You'll know the zoning. You'll know your subdivision requirements. They should, when they come here, know at least that. And you have an intelligent dialogue for next steps proceeding.
And as long as they don't call and want to know the favorable answer to every question, or come in here every day looking for a phone number or whatever, it should work out better than it.
We're gonna grow some efficiencies here that are gonna make your staff significantly more efficient and more productive. They're clearly gonna be that if we set in place guidelines that we follow, or parameter processes that we.
Processes is the right word.
Right, and you know what it says, subdivision ordinance, such and such. If you don't find that for them, they can look it up online. You know, it's not their work is not your homework. You know, I know it hasn't been exactly that way in the past.
It isn't brain surgery for somebody who's coming here who's understands land use a little bit. We filled out an application for a client in Crown Point yesterday, and we didn't talk to anybody. We went online, we got the form, we got the application, we went and looked at the zoning, we looked at the comprehensive plan, we filled out the form, and the client signed it, and off they went. It's not brain surgery. And a little nudge and a little assist, that's what we're here for. That's what we're supposed to do, but not the whole deal, not the whole enchilada.
I'm not supposed to hold their hand.
Supposed to cheer, supposed to applaud. supposed to
Well,
be
we do
right.
need people come here a little more prepared for what they're gonna present to us. That's a checklist and so be it. But I don't want to see long drawn out checklists with some basic items.
We're working at it. I mean, Tim's comments on that are well made, and we need to keep a simple process that is complete enough for you to have information to work with somebody.
I think a lot of these questions you ask at the counter anyway. I'm assuming. So, you know,
She does.
like Dave said, an applause, send them on their way with some information and when they've gathered it up, they come back.
Like maybe look at Crown Point, see what they have, and maybe we could work off of it to build ours.
Yeah, I've talked to Anthony a few times.
Hey, he's a good guy.
Yes.
I think a good comprehensive checklist is so close.
Yeah, they have a big department.
Mm-hmm.
Comparison for us would be St. John in terms of staffing levels. They have a planning director and secretary. It's kind of, our
Model.
Cherville has a checklist of a sort, don't they?
they do,
I think Neil Simstad said that.
they do.
Okay,
Good point.
Formatting.
Good
is
stuff.
different than our staffing model. That's all.
yeah.
I mean, they have the same rules, same laws. Staffing makeup a little bit.
Well, the efficiency is built into the checklist.
Thank you for the couple minutes.
Okay, so as there's no other public comment and there's no other buddy in here, does anybody have anybody zooming? Have anybody on the outside, or would you like to have any time on public comment?
We have no attendees.
No attendees. Michelle saying, Heather, Chuck, Richard.
All good, Mr. President.
Okay,
Good.
everybody's good.
IT department over there, do you guys want to move to Cedar Lake?
He already lives here. All right. I'm going to adjourn this meeting right now, 7:18, whatever it is.
8:18.
8:18, sorry.
8:18.
8:18.
20.
Nicely done, Jerry. Good job.
Have
Thanks,
Y'all have-
Zoomers.
have a good,
Zoomers, have a nice night. I'll meet you at the lighthouse.
I'll be there.
All right,
Yeah.
my man. You can buy.
you can sit